Today I just wanted to take a quick look and go through the migration guide, or what it might take to migrate from one version of Oracle Jet to another. Last October of 2015, we released the very first version of Oracle Jet, which was actually based on a version numbered 1.1.2, so 1.1.2. And when we open sourced at the end of October, or the end of February rather, of 2016, we released 2.0.0. So there's only been those two versions to migrate between, but as Jet continues to mature and we come out with new versions, there's going to be more of a need for migrating. So we want to go into that a little bit today and talk about how easy it is, what resources are available to you, and kind of show a few details as to what's going on. So from the Jet website, which is where I'm at right now, I've clicked on the support menu, and there's actually a migration guide available from the main website. It's a really simple tutorial, how-to, step-by-step type of scenario. We're going to go ahead and go through this with a live project and just take a look at what it actually takes and how quickly you can do it. Usually when we're going to migrate, or really anytime you're going to migrate, you're going to want to actually just work with the .zip base file and the base distribution. So that's available off of the OTN site for download, instead of going off of GitHub for the open source binaries. So up here at the top of the migration guide, it's going to take us over to the OTN site. Now you can also get here by simply clicking on oracle.com or typing into a URL, oracle.com/jet, and it will take you to this Jet page, and then you click on downloads. So two different ways of getting to it. When you're looking at the downloads, of course, it's going to give you the preferred way of installing Jet from scratch when you first start out. But if you're migrating from a previous version, just come on down to the bottom down here under the alternate ways to do it. Except the little license agreement. If you read the license agreement, it's the universal permissive license, the same as the open source. There's nothing different there. But you're going to download this base distribution, the first one in the. So if you click on this, of course, it's just going to ask you to download it, and you can go ahead and do that to wherever you would like to download it to. I've already gone ahead and done that. I downloaded it over to my desktop. So let's take a look at what it is we actually want to do. So I have an old hands-on lab application. This again off of the Jet website. There is the hands-on lab that's available under examples. And I've done that from back in the 1.1.2 time frame when we were showing that off earlier in the year. And I've got that version of the application running here. If you ever want to see what version of Jet you're actually running, you can bring up the browser tools really quickly, and from the console, just type in oj.version. And it will tell you exactly what version you're running. So in this particular case, I know I'm running 1.1.2. And I want to upgrade this to 2.0.0. So I've downloaded that .zip file to my desktop. I'm going to bring up my browser here, or the file manager here, and I'm just going to extract this zip file over the top of the base distribution, or the root directory of my application. Now everything that Jet provides, at least the Jet libraries, are versioned, are in a version number. So if I want to go and take a look here, I'm going to drop these into some of my NetBeans projects, and I happen to have one called Hands-On Lab. There, Jet 1.1.2 Hands-On Lab. And my root directory on this is public HTML. So you'll notice in the .zip file behind that I'm going to zip, there's just the SCSS, which is the source code for the theming, the Sass theming, the JS directory, and the CSS directory. And those also are here. So I'm just going to let those overwrite what's in there. Now it's only going to overwrite what Jet itself has provided in the past. It's not going to touch anything new that you created. So I'm going to say yes to all, and we're going to let that go through. It should only take a few seconds here. And then I'll show you that what happened here is, because everything is in a versioned directory structure, once this is dropped in, we can take a look at the project itself, and we'll be able to look under those different directories, the JavaScript OJ and CSS OJ. So let's go to this project. Again, it was under the D drive, NetBeans, in here. So let's take a look at these. So here I've got, under the libraries, I've got the different libraries that were already here. And then under OJ, I now have a new directory called version 2.0.0 and version 1.1.2. So if I want this application to start using this newer version of Jet, all I need to do is go into my editor of choice. Now, I happen to be in NetBeans, and this is the same project that we were just looking at in the directory structure is over here. You'll see, actually, if I expand out libs and look under OJ, you'll see the two different versions are here now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my index.html, which references my CSS, and I'm going to change this from v1.1.2 to v2.0.0. And I'm also going to go to my require, the main bootstrap file for my require, which is main.js right here. I already have it open, so I'm going to go over to here. And I'm going to look at the Jet provided libraries. Now, in this particular case, I have an OJS, which is the directory path that points to all of the different Jet modules. And again, I'm going to change that from 1.1.2 to 2.0.0. And for my internationalization, same thing. And finally, on my translations, I'm going to do one more time on that. And that's it. Now that's the basics. If you're really just moving from a minor version to a minor version, this is all you would have to do. So let me explain a little bit about version numbers as well. So I'm going to do a save on this really quick, and we'll talk about version numbers here. So Jet versioning, a major release or a major version of Jet is a little bit different than what some might consider major. So with us, 2.0.0 is actually even larger than a major. That large number of 1 and 2 at the very beginning is something that we will rarely change. The 2.1 or 2.2, those are considered major releases for us. A dot release or a minor release is that third digit. And those minor releases are all considered to be just bug fixes, or they may be additive in nature. So we could bring in a new feature that's an opt-in type of feature, but we strive to make sure that anytime a minor release is put out, there are no API changes and there are no code changes that would cause your product to have to make some changes in your code. So you should be able to drop in a minor release, such as right now we're on 2.0.0, and when 2.0.1 comes out, you should be able to drop in 2.0.1 and simply change these directory paths as I've done now. And that's it. Your product should run. That's the way we test it. That's the way we expect it. That's how we triage the bugs that get fixed and so forth to make sure that those types of things can happen. When you hit a major release, like when we went from 1.1.2 to 2.0, those are major releases that we can change APIs in. We can upgrade library versions, which is really important to stay up with the newest version of the JavaScript libraries that we just pull off the shelf. We can change APIs and so forth. In those cases, you want to take a really close look at the release notes, because the release notes are going to tell you what has really changed and what you need to expect. And the release notes on the Jet website, again, are found under the support tab under release notes. And the release notes will come out and they'll tell you any significant changes from the previous release. In this particular case, it tells us anything that's changed since 1.1.2. And you can go down and read through and find out if there's anything that will affect your particular application. There are some times when we come out with a major release that really doesn't affect anybody. As far as your code just isn't using some of the features that we've changed or something of that nature. So you can start to take a look through these and just find out if there's something that has to happen in your product in order to change it. You'll also notice in here that we come up and at the very end we're going to tell you what's been deprecated or what might be changing. If we upgraded some libraries or we're removing a few things or changing a few things or starting to deprecate things, they'll be noted in these release notes. And so our deprecation policy is that we're going to give you notice of something and then it'll actually get deprecated and removed from the framework when the framework goes out of support. And we support a major release for 1 year. So any major release, say now that 2.0 has come out in February, when we come out with 2.1, that's basically the warning that in 6 months, we do a major release every 6 months. So in 6 months, we're going to come out with 2.1. And then when we come out with 2.2, 2.0 is going to end up getting deprecated and removed from support, or end of life from support. So you can start to follow along on that schedule. You know where things are going to get changed, and you can start to follow through on that. So let's take a look at that application that we just changed. Again, let's just, the same app it's running, same URL. Let's just take a look at oj.version and see if it actually has changed. And yep, now it says 2.0.0. You notice the code's exactly the same. Nothing has changed in here. In this particular app, it's a very simple app, but everything still functions, just simply changing out those minor issues. So your application, of course, is I'm sure much more complex than what we're doing here, and so you want to make sure you test the heck out of it, and and look for what might have modified, and read those release notes, because they're really going to give you the key to what has changed and what's possibly going to change going forward. So, thanks for watching. Hopefully that gave you an insight as to how easy it is to migrate from one version of JET to another, and where you would go to find more details for more complex migrations. Thanks.